Today, so we'll just do a little goofy drawing instead of doing a superhero, something ultra realistic, teaching you anatomy. Why don't we have a little bit of fun? The big movie this weekend was from Disney, was Moana, and they had this big dude that was played by Rock Johnson that was called Maui, right? Big dude with big shoulders, not a little bit bigger than me. So let's see if we can't sort of bang one of them out real quick for all you guys that love to do your drawings of some fun stuff. So the guy's got a sort of a big. Oh, wait, hold a sec. Get a pen here. He's got a bridge of a nose here. Um, I think he had some big nostrils. He's got some big nostrils here. We're gonna give him some big nostrils real quick. Got some goofy little eyeballs, so we'll give him some nice little fun little eyes, right? And make sure that we make them black. And remember what I've said before, always give it a highlight. So we'll go in here and we'll give it a nice highlight up in here, right? He had the big bushy eyebrows for any of you that haven't seen it or looking at in the advertising. So he's got the big bushy eyebrows and he's got a big kind of forehead. And now the fun here, you got to make sure you get sort of the shape of the head a little bit big, right? So he's got like a square, almost a blockhead, right? He's got his, so we'll give him his little wrinkles, and then I think he's got some fat cheeks. He's got some dimples or something like that. Comes in here, and then we'll just come down here and we'll just frame the chin of him a little bit. We'll come up in here, get a nice big swoop here because he had a big head. If you look at some of the advertising here, he's got an ear, big ear. I don't think he's got any earring or anything like that. And then obviously he's got a big fat neck, right? So, or a thick neck. I guess we'll just leave it at that. We'll just call it a thick neck. Up in here, he's got his cool hair. We'll get to that real quick. I'll cheat in that real fast. So we'll get some of that up in here. And then he's got sort of another goofy eye up in here. We'll put that up in here. And we'll, again, make it black. Put the highlight in there, right? Smooth it out. There we go. And then we go back. And then I think he's got a little bit of another bushy eyebrow. And he was always making some kind of sort of silly faces on the screen, right? For some of you that saw the movie this weekend. It's got a big sort of flat head there. Again, hair is going out here. We'll get to that. I just need to give me a little bit of shape. And I think he had some curls. So he's got typical sort of Dudemon hairdos, right? So we'll flush some of this in for right now. And then I think the thing that sort of made him is he got these sort of round cheeks. So we got to make sure that we get our cheeks in here. And this is a little bit like Bugs Bunny drawing, just a little bit. So, and his lip, I don't know if you guys noticed, his lip came up pretty high. So it was way up here, and then it sort of curled back into his mouth up in here. So it was sort of an interesting mouth that he ended up having here. And he would smile, had dimples or something like that. So we'll come up in here. He had sort of a big upper lip, right? And then he had a little bit of a skinny lip because he sort of looked like he was puckering just a bit. Right? So we'll come up in here, give him a little bit of a chin up in here. And then he had, it looked like he had a necklace here full of trinkets and stuff. So we'll come up in here and give him his tooth or whatever he had here. Probably had some strings attaching all of this together. You can come up in here, give him again some more teeth or bones or whatever it was that he had. And put this all up in here. And again, you can go quick on it. We're going a little bit fast here. What I won't have a chance to do, although I'll do it in a different color, is I'm not going to have a chance to put all the tattoos on him, because if I do that, we'll be here all day, right? So I'll put that on here. I'll put some other sort of cool things on here. I don't know exactly how it all looked, but let's just go here. Put it up some strings up in here. Get a little bit here, a little bit of shadow. And now let me go real big Let me go real big and get the hair in here because that's probably going to be the thing that's going to make them, right? So let me get a bigger brush, and now let's just go and bang this out here. So he'd have less on this side because his head's kind of turned there, right? So he'd have less on this side over here, even though it's all black, but. And then he'd come up in here, looks like it's all thrown back, like he'd been out surfing. And then he'd come up over here, and then he's got obviously the big cheeks. And then we now need to make it up here. I'll probably go a lot of black, and then I'll just cut in a bunch of white here real quickly, and then that way we can get to it. Make it a little scraggly, because I think he had the long sort of hair, almost fro hair. So we'll get up in here real quick. Whoops. And then he also had the big shoulders, right? I think he sort of mocked after and patterned after the actual rock himself. So he's big giant shoulders, so we can't forget those, right? Up in here. And now that we've got all the black up in here, I'll do some loose tendrils. And to end it real quick, I'll come and cut it some white in here, and so we can get some of this that just makes it feel just a little bit more scraggly. All right, there it is, a couple minutes, right? You can get to any drawing you want, just give big shapes, big swings, big patterns. I don't have time to do all the tattoos on them, but if I did, I would have come in here with a darker color, right? Just would have picked, let's say, something like this maybe. And then I would have just etched the colors up on him here, like this, and then just done whatever it was that he actually had up on him, right? So I can just do shapes real quick, and then I can come in there and just cut white lines in him, and pretty soon I'd have like a bunch of tattoos on him, right? You just go in patterns, cut the whites, you know, do stars or whatever it was that he had, circles that were on him or something like that. But anyways, there is our Disney drawing of the day. Be good. Todd McFarlane, see you tomorrow. Go Cyber Monday. Go shop.